Cześć, z tej strony Kapsel. Normalnie reprezentuję barwy Dappera z Poznania. Dzisiaj mam przyjemność jakby reprezentować FRESHMAGa poznańskiego i mam przyjemność jakby przeprowadzenia rozmowy z Gregiem z Ulterior Motive. So Greg, it's nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
Finally. And it's not your first time in Poland, is it?
No, this is maybe our third time in Poland, I think. We've played our first ever abroad gig as Ulterior Motive was in Poland back in 2010, and then we played for Peter at Drum Session, and now we're here. So third time's the charm.
So yeah, I would like to focus on your visit to Poland, to Poznań. Sorry. What's your memories? Tell me something about it if you remember. Actually.
I remember downstairs being very, very smoky, made my eyes sting, but the vibe in that venue was amazing. And I remember the vodka, the special vodka, local vodka, very strong, very potent, very damaging.
So a bit of hangover the day after?
Yeah. Always hangover, man. Like, but it's a very good gig, man. Like really cool gig. Like nice venue, good sound, resident DJs, good selection, man. Good people. It was very fun.
Yeah, I do remember it because actually I was there because I'm from Poznań. So yeah, is there anything in particular that you like in Poland?
I really like the Polish people. Like Polish people are really safe. Like very similar to the English in sort of ideology and temperament, kind of like just very cool, understanding, no nonsense, there's no like pretense, just safe. There's a very clear, we just want to have a good time. Just have a good time, and that's it. So it's cool.
Let's talk about music now. You've released an album on Metalheads that's called The Fourth Wall, and when did the whole idea of making it start? What's the story behind it?
Well, the thing with the album, so we were signed to Subtitles, and we were doing all that sort of stuff for Subtitles. And then we remixed Obsession, did a Future Cut remix of Obsession featuring Jenna G. And then it's about that time Goldie was kind of like, I want you to do us an album. And we were like, well, we're not ready for an album, so thank you, but no thank you at this time. And then time went on, and sort of like we started writing some other stuff. We did them in 12, Right Here, the Elephant tune. And then it just sort of felt, what we were writing felt right for metalheads, and they still wanted us to do the album, so we signed up, and that was it. It was kind of like, it's really hard for people to understand, right? That like, if you're a drum and bass enthusiast like we are, before we were producers, before we were DJs, we were people that go to rave to drum and bass. We go to nightclubs and listen to drum and bass, and then to be asked to do an album for metalheads, it's kind of like, well, it's a stupid, it's just like, obviously. And then it was like, well, yeah, we're going to do it. Obviously, like, me and James are very conscious about, like, what we do as a unit. It's kind of like, we weren't ready when they asked us to do it the first time. And, like, we want what we do to be right. It's not just about putting music out because you want to. Do you understand? Like, it's kind of like, like it'd be easy to just go, I want to put a record out, so I just put a record out. If that record's rubbish, that's going to stay with you forever. And there's a really good analogy, like every tune you write, it's like a tattoo. You got to imagine every tune you produce and prepared to put out, it's a tattoo. You got to be prepared to wear that forever. So it's kind of like, we're ready now to write a body of work that we're prepared to stand by. So the time is just right. Like we've been around for quite a while now. Like 2010, Infrasonic, 2011, featherweight 2098. You know, it'd have been easy to have just written an album then, but you know, we weren't ready. You know, it would have been an album that we weren't ready to write, and now we're ready to write stuff. So that's why now is the time.
So how long did it take to, you know, from scratch to the very day of releasing it?
It took around. We started writing, because what we did was when instead of writing together, we split up. James would work on his own, I would work on my own, and we'd write an idea a day. We'd write and whether that idea ended up just being a drum loop, some strings, a riff, or a 3-minute tune, a 1.5-minute tune, an intro. We did that from December till the end of January, and we had 120 ideas. And then at the end of January, we sat down and we whittled those 120 ideas down to 40. And then from that 40, we chose 14 tunes to finish. And then it was from February till June the 15th. So it took about 6 months.
Okay, so if not, you know, if not drum and bass, what was your inspiration? I mean, music-wise.
What other influences do we draw on from outside drum and bass? I'd say with James, me and James like garage music. I listen to a lot of soul. You know, we listen to a lot of music other than drum and bass. No, we're drum and bass producers, but we don't listen to drum and bass. Do you understand? You know what I mean? It's kind of like, because it's kind of counterproductive to just be like, I write drum and bass, I listen to drum and bass, because otherwise you're not doing anything new. You need to draw on other stuff to be able to be creative and write stuff. So, I mean, we listened to lots of other music and we drew on all sorts of stuff, you know, but the purpose of the album, you know, we took the license of the album. Instead of writing a techno tune, we wrote something like Sideways, which is our sort of Bristol-y 1998, 97 sort of tune. Because, you know, we love that stuff, and it's kind of well, if we love it, let's write that, but let's do it the way we would do it, you know, and that's our influences on the album.
Yeah. So, what was the most difficult part behind the album?
Having it ready on time. Having it ready on time is really difficult. It was there's a lot of stuff going on, but we've got a really good workflow. You know, me and James have got a very organised system of how we write stuff. You know, I'll do gigs, James will mix down. So it frees up the week to be creative together. Stuff like a mix down could take maybe 2 days to get right. But for every day that I work, every day me and James work together, that's 2 working man days. Do you know what I mean? Because there's 2 people, so it's kind of you need to be more productive with your time. So it's kind of we need to be creative, Let's work separately, because I'll write a tune and he'll write a tune in 1 day, instead of coming up with one idea in 1 day together. Do you know what I mean? It's like a time thing, so it's kind of, we're really focused on workflow. You know, let's get the vibe over the production. So it's we've got the message of this tune. This tune's running. It might sound terrible as a demo, you know. It's it's running, but it's all wrong. But if you're nodding your head and you're going, this is wicked, you can then spend 3 days making it sound the way you want it to sound right for the club. But you've got the vibe and you've got the idea of the tune there. So that's how we write and keep things vibing.
Yeah. So, as I told before. You're more of a person that goes on tours, playing gigs, and James is more of a studio guy?
Well, not necessarily. It's more it's about being a unit and working to your strengths. You know, it's James is playing in Bulgaria tonight, you know, we both do gigs. It's not I do gigs, James doesn't do gigs. It's more a case of if there's only 1 gig at the weekend, I'll do that, and James will take care of the work that we did in the week. Do you know what I mean? If we've written a tune in a week, because every week, you know, there's a new idea. It's right, well, I'll go and do the gig, and he'll make the rough demo sound loads better. That's how we work, you know. But you know, when we have the availability as a duo to be able to do, like I'm playing Poland tonight, he plays in Bulgaria. There's loads of that going on. So it's not I do the DJing, he does the production. It's more a case of we write tunes together in the week as a creative process. But when it comes to sort of something that's like a mix down is a one-man job, you know, like mixing down a tune doesn't take two people. And James is a really, really good engineer. You know, like, he can do that really, really well. So he's like, I'll do that, and you can go and DJ. And I'm like, all right, cool, I'll go and DJ. But I'll go and DJ, and I'll bring something else back to the table. You know, I'll go away from a gig and be like, I met this guy, he wants us to go and do this. It's kind of like working to your strengths as a business. You know, you have to sort of look at it as like people sort of negate the fact that, like, you know, oh, this is DJing and this is drum and bass and it's sick. This is work, you know, this is a business. It's kind of like me and Jane, the drum and bass is like, we're producers. You know, like, we write other music, but like this is the genre that we're most successful in at the moment. So it's kind of like, let's work to our strengths now of what we're doing, and what we do here will lead on to other career paths in the future as producers.
You know, when I listen to your music, there is a lot of old school vibe in it when it comes to your mixes and to your album, of course. You know, tell me what's it gonna be tonight.
Tonight's gonna be, I'm gonna play all of the album. Tonight's gonna be all of the album, but basically, like, our sets are always very much what we're about, you know, like we play our sets start like this. It's kind of like you get a bit of everything, you know. You get a bit of like we'll play new stuff, we'll play tunes by other artists, you know. We'll play a bit of footwork, you know, a bit of sort of like Fracture, you know, Exit Records-y sort of stuff. Sam Binger, play a bit of like a couple of old classics, but not like obvious, you know. It's not like drawing for the obvious ones, but like we like to sort of like. The journey's this, you know. It's kind of interesting because, you know, it's easy to just hit play and everything's the same for an hour, and it's like, wow, that was great. But there's no, like, you know, you need to bring it in and bring it out, and just like, we like to play tunes and like make our sets more of a. They need to be a sort of condensed night in an hour, you know. Like play a bit of jungle, play some rolling tunes, play some noisier, play this, play that. You know, it's kind of. It's just about vibing it out, you know. Because obviously, like, we don't play a pre-programmed set. We never do. You know, like, we just get on and go like, what's happening here? You know, what do these people want to hear? And then we go in from there.
Yeah. So to sum it up, any shouts you want to give?
Just want to shout out you guys, everybody here tonight. To the Fresh Mag Massive, I want to shout out the Fresh Mag Massive. Shout out for Peter, I want to shout out James, who can't be here tonight, unfortunately. Shout out to Metalheads, shout out to my agent. Yeah, shout out to the cameraman working hard over there. I mean, just, you know, shout out to everyone who's bought our album and supported us, man. I mean, like, we both, me and James, really appreciate all your support and all the kind things you've said about it. It's been really great, man.
Yeah, so big up to you, sir. Thank you for your time. I hope you're having a good time here. And yeah, see you on the stage.